And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Today is Wednesday, January 29th. Welcome to News 12 Now. I'm Kylie Dedman. With multiple schools moving to distance learning this week, it's easy to tell Oklahoma is seeing a spike in flu cases. In fact, Oklahoma is actually the #1 state nationwide for flu activity. The state health department shows positive flu cases are up about 25%, with the majority of the cases being flu A. And a flu index from Walgreens shows Oklahoma as the top state for the flu. The index is compiled using weekly prescription data for drugs used to treat the illness. But it's not just people that the flu is hitting hard. The bird flu is impacting farmers across the country. It continues to push egg prices even further, and while they are still not at record levels, you can't avoid the sticker shock. Fox's Kendall Green has more.
Bird flu, forcing the slaughter of millions of chickens monthly, is plaguing farms across the country. As a result, has grocery store shoppers taking notice.
It's $2.99 for a half, so like $5.98 for a dozen. It's too expensive.
As the price of eggs are jumping off those receipts.
Everyone's going for the Vital Farms, right, which is like $10.
A source of frustration for New York shoppers and beyond, as the national average for a dozen eggs hit $4.15 last month.
As long as bird flu continues to affect different farms around the country, we're going to continue to see that type of prices.
Farmers feel the impact of the bird flu much sooner than consumers. They're shelling out thousands of dollars on measures to stop the virus, as the Department of Agriculture spent $1.14 billion refunding farmers for the birds they've already slaughtered. Anne-Marie Rohrink with 210 Analytics shares without a breakthrough fighting the bird flu, egg prices won't be heading down anytime soon.
The industry is doing everything they can to control the issue, and certainly the United States is not the only country that is dealing with bird flu. We're seeing it flare back up in Europe and Asia and other parts of the world.
I'm not maybe buying as often. I'm trying to stretch it with the egg whites and then the whole eggs, and I mix them, and that's the way I kind of get my protein in the morning.
So for those like Regina aiming to stretch their supply and their dollars,
the problem's not going away. So again, utilize these welcome coupons. Maybe now is the time, if you've never shopped at, a warehouse, these bulk stores like Costco, like BJ's, these membership warehouse clubs, maybe it's time to check it out.
Well, the prices of eggs are soaring now. They haven't broken the record set 2 years ago at $4.82. But the Department of Agriculture predicts eggs could go up as much as 20% this year. On the Upper East Side, Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
Well, if you have the flu or are getting over the flu, today's weather is just perfect just to be indoors because it is rainy outside all across Texoma.
Yeah, definitely stay inside and just kind of ride it out, at least for the moment. Flu sufferer here, so yeah, you can probably hear it in my voice. It's kind of hard to escape. Either way, we're still here tracking some of these showers and storms rolling through. We've kind of got our first round rolling through the area here on Max Radar, kind of rolling through parts of Grayson, Fannin, parts of Bryan and Choctaw counties as well, and Lamar as well. Just some lightning and heavy rain, nothing too crazy with it, but all part of this large system that is now starting to swing eastward. And as it does so, it's only going to increase our showers and storms. Not too much going across the region, but again, we don't really expect this to really increase until later on tonight. Temperatures real quickly are in the 50s and will probably stay there through much of the day and overnight. Heavy rain is expected later and also maybe some severe weather. But if you need some outdoor time and you want some fresh air, this weekend is looking beautiful for you. We're going to have all the forecast details here in a minute, but back to you, Kylie.
All right, thank you, Brian. Texas EquuSearch giving an update today on the search for 8-year-old Claire Robinson. The group says it's eliminated several potential areas that were identified by drones. It's now working out plans to bring in professional divers to search the creeks and underwater brush piles this weekend. The search group says most of the search areas are on private property, but all the owners have allowed searches on their land. Clara has been missing since a Christmas Eve crash that also took the life of her father, Will Robinson. 4 First United banks in Bryan County are holding bake sale fundraisers that will benefit the Robinson family and the family of Kylie Rice, a Rock Creek teacher who died after a medical episode last week. The bake sale is happening Monday. Proceeds from the Durant location will go into the Robinson Benefit account, and money raised at the Bach Cheeto, Calera, and Colbert banks will go to the Rice Benefit account. And another Texoma family is also searching for answers almost a year after their daughter was found dead in Sherman. 20-year-old Kirsten Dunn's body was found off Whitney Road last February. The sheriff's office ruled the death a homicide nearly a year later, and investigators are still pursuing all leads.
This year has been the most difficult year of our lives. It's changed us as individuals. It's changed the way that we see humanity. We don't give up on our babies. We need to know what happened.
If you have any information about what happened, contact the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. 2 Texas men have been arrested in southern Oklahoma for their alleged connection to cockfighting. Chickasaw Park Rangers arrested J.C. Lewis Jr. during a traffic stop in Sulphur after allegedly seizing 6 fighting roosters from his vehicle. 2 days later, Atoka police arrested Kai Wynn during a traffic stop.
And they found 4 roosters in his truck with blood on the carpet and cockfighting equipment.
Chambers says Lewis was booked into the Murray County Jail and Wynn was booked into Atoka. Both are facing felony cockfighting charges. A large group of protesters gathered outside the Oklahoma State Department of Education meeting yesterday. They were speaking out against possible ICE activity and deportation roundups in Oklahoma schools. A new rule approved at that meeting means to require parents to show proof of citizen status when they enroll their children in school. Paige Taylor has more on what Oklahoma School Superintendent Ryan Walters had to say about it.
Walters has been vocal about illegal immigration in Oklahoma schools, even suing the federal government for $474 million he says is associated with the cost to educate illegal immigrant children. An approved rule requires families to present documentation to schools about their citizenship status, similar to providing documentation on where they live or their immunization status. Walters says the new administrative rule is to gather data, and students will not be turned away from being educated in Oklahoma public schools if they are not a legal citizen.
Clearly, you are supposed to enter the country legally. We are providing information and documentation over the students in our schools. It is incredibly necessary for us to continue to move up in the education rankings, to continue to be successful with all students, to have this information.
Walters was asked by a board member if the information will remain private or be shared, and if the information gathered could lead to immigration raids in schools. He says the information will be provided to law enforcement and the Trump administration as needed.
It is a felony to not work with law enforcement on an investigation. So, we will work with, that's outside of my scope. That's not my authority there. But if a law enforcement official comes in and asks for information, we are legally required to give that information over.
He says having this information will benefit schools by allowing them to see where they need to allocate resources based on the students they are educating.
What we see with illegal immigration is it continues to occur throughout the year. School districts all of a sudden come in on a Monday and go, well, now we have 80 more kids that don't speak English. By the way, that doesn't necessarily mean they speak Spanish. They're coming from countries all over the world. And so now all of a sudden, they've got to go find another teacher or more resources that they didn't plan for. Because remember, they couldn't ask this information beginning of the year.
And that was Paige Taylor reporting. The rule still needs approval by the state legislature and governor before it takes effect. A judge in Washington, D.C. paused the Trump administration's plan to freeze the funding of federal grants and loans. It came minutes before it was scheduled to start last night. The White House says funding to individuals would not be affected, but Democrats argue that would indeed happen if organizations relying on federal money could no longer fund programs that help Americans. The judge's order lasts until Monday afternoon. The White House is offering federal workers the option of keeping full pay and benefits through the end of September if they decide to resign their positions by February 6th. Senior administration officials say they expect around 10% of the roughly 2 million civilian federal employees nationwide will opt in. In an email to federal workers, the Trump administration says those who decide to remain will not have full assurance that their roles won't be eliminated.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.